me. You better watch out if you ain't got enemies. I roll ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows me. And he gets caught real big, pissed off quick. And if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score. Never getting bored, lots of blood and gore. Always wanting more, freedom from the source. They don't really listen until they feel it worth their party. And if you start shit, you be heartless in the darkness. Torn apart quick, you left scars ripped. You be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it.
Alligator Alcatraz, an impregnable prison camp surrounded by miles of the most deadly parts of Florida. Poisonous snakes, fierce and hungry alligators, miles of unmapped swamps, storms, hurricanes, fierce heat. No one's getting out of Alligator Alcatraz. The people in Alligator Alcatraz are subhumans, the worst of the worst. Alligator Alcatraz is going to teach these criminals a lesson. If you're upset by Alligator Alcatraz, just wait. Because when the Trump era ends, we're keeping it open for the corrupt crypto scammers like Don Jr., who cashed in on the presidency. Keeping it open for folks like Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, and Tom Homan, who ignore the law, ignore court orders, and deploy masked cops in warrantless raids. We're even keeping it open for the state and federal agents who abuse their power. You built this, MAGA, and some of you will enjoy the view from inside the wire.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another daily news recap. A lot to go over today, like we always do. A lot happening in the news. I'm happy to say that MAGA is falling apart as we speak over this Epstein files debacle. I have a lot of new information on that, but it seems like this could be the downfall of Donald Trump. They're the reason that everybody's so interested in the files. They were the ones that said they were going to release the files, and then to come out and just say, they don't exist. Everybody's finding that just to be a little bit odd, especially the podcast bros like Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, Shane Gillis, all those comedians that platformed Trump and talked him up and voted for him. They're all now very upset about this. And they truly think, Joe Rogan even thinks that Trump and his administration, well, he at least thinks that Epstein did not kill himself. He's not, I don't think, trying to implicate who did or get sued for defamation, but he's pretty much convinced that it was not death by suicide. And then we're going to talk about ICE. ICE is also not doing well on top of having extremely low morale. They are, let me check my volume, make sure it's good for you guys. ICE morale is at an all-time low. Nobody wants to be there. There we go. Nobody wants to do it. And on top of that, the entire country is uniting against them. And they don't like being called the Gestapo. They don't like being called Nazis. But unfortunately, that's the name that is stuck because, well, that's what they are. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. But Tom Homan himself is very upset. What's up, everybody? Good to see you guys all in here. All right, so let's get started. We'll get some news headlines first. Just some follow-up from some previous stories that I found interesting. So first, let's talk about, we talked about a guy before named Sergio Gore, who is a top aide at the Trump White House. Well, come to find out that he was actually not born in the United States. He was born in the Soviet Union. Yes, the Soviet Union. An immigrant from the Soviet Union is now one of the top aides, if not the top aide to Donald Trump. So Donald Trump's director of the White House's official or Office of Presidential Personnel, Sergio Gore, has been called the most powerful man you've never heard of. His role gives him access to intimate secrets of those who want to work for Trump. But until Tuesday, the country where he was born was itself a secret. This administration just loves keeping secrets, don't they? They say they're about transparency, but come on. About as transparent as a brick wall. But now, all right. So now the 38-year-old has been revealed to be born in Tashkent, probably saying that wrong, which is now Uzbekistan, which was part of the Soviet Union, making Gore, a top White House official, a Soviet-born citizen. I thought we were getting rid of all the immigrants in this country. Now we got a Soviet-born citizen sitting right next to Donald Trump at the White House, probably listening to things he should not be listening to, considering all the ties that Donald Trump and his organization have to Russia. So, yeah, so that happened. They previously declined, again, the Party of Transparency, declined to divulge his birthplace, except to say he was not born in Russia. The eyebrow-raising disclosure that he was not from Russia, but the Soviet Republic, came from a joint investigation by the Times of Malta and the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. It reported that Gore was born Sergio Gorkovsky, November 30th, 1986, by matching his name and date of birth to notarized Maltese property record. Gore's lawyer then confirmed the news, as did the White House. Great. Awesome. They're saying he has there's no evidence of connection to the Communist Party, but considering he was born in 1986, obviously that'd be very unlikely unless he was a child with ties to the Communist Party of Soviet Union. Also, in other news, the Secret Service recently suspended 6 agents over the Butler security rally failures. Right. So on July 13th, actually, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary in a couple days here. And did you guys know, this is a fun fact, did you guys know the reason Donald Trump is playing golf so much is because he's claiming that his doctor told him he should play more to deal with the trauma of a fake assassination attempt. I mean, an assassination attempt. So yeah, that's why he's playing so much golf, because he's under doctor's orders to deal with all the trauma. Fucking betas. Like, this is the guy everybody's like, he's such an alpha male. He's such an alpha male. He's like, I'm traumatized. I gotta go play golf. Thomas Matthew Crooks fired shots in Butler, Pennsylvania. We all remember that shit. The attacks exposed severe operational failures and communications breakdowns within the U.S. Secret Service, which had faced intense criticism from Congress over the last year. But you know who he did not fire? And actually somebody that got a promotion because of this guy. I don't know if you guys remember this guy, but you know, the Donald Trump with his hand up. I don't know, maybe I have it in the other. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sure I can find it. Trump, Butler, photo op. It's the first thing that comes up. This guy right here in the sunglasses. He got a promotion. He didn't get suspended. Yeah, the guy who was in charge of Donald Trump's Secret Service detail that day, yeah, he got promoted. Everybody else, operational failure. But the guy who was in charge of that day, he got a promotion. Sounds about right? So yeah, this guy is now in charge of the Secret Service, and may or may not have been in on this whole thing. I still don't believe Donald Trump was shot, obviously, because there's no scar. There's no scar. Not even a little scar, not even a scratch. Okay, you don't take a bullet to cartilage. This is not even flesh. It's just straight cartilage. It would have ripped the chunk out of your ear. Like, how dumb are people that think that this guy honestly got shot? I mean, seriously. It's truly stupid. I mean, look at this. Really? Like, you honest, please. And there, I mean, I could get into the conspiracies on this, but I still don't to this day believe that this was actually real. I believe people got shot. It was a real shooting, but I don't even think Donald Trump was the target. Of course, they blamed it on Iran, even though it was a white kid, Trump supporter that shot him. Ugh. But yeah, so they're going with that. But this guy got promoted. and is now running the show as far as the Secret Service goes. And he was in charge that day for Donald Trump's Secret Service detail. So if other people got suspended for failures, operational failures, why did this guy get a promotion? A big promotion. He's now in charge. Excuse me. He's now in charge. Burp. He's now in charge of the Secret Service. Yeah, makes total sense, right? Just like everything else in the Trump administration. So just wanted to go over those things. I thought those were interesting little stories that we could talk about real quick to just follow ups on previous times we've talked about it. Yeah. So let's move on to what we really want to talk about, and that is ICE and Jeffrey Epstein. And just so you guys can see how ridiculous this is right now, and I have a clip from Fox News, and this has nothing to do with either Epstein or ICE, but this is about the most cringe thing I think I've ever seen on the White House's Twitter feed. They posted this. This is the White House's official Twitter account. Donald Trump as Superman, because they are mad that Donald Trump or that James Gunn came out and said that Superman is an illegal immigrant. Obviously, he's from outer fucking space. This is so dumb. And now they're calling it super woke. Super woke. But the comments are just ridiculous. Over here it says, you can't really see it because my face is over top of it, but it says, the symbol of hope, truth, justice, the American way, Superman Trump. And the comments are fantastic. How absolutely pathetic. This one has the Epstein files as Donald Trump's kryptonite, which I thought was especially good. You people are on drugs. Trump is a morbidly obese sociopath. And then this guy, who obviously likes Donald Trump because he has him as his photo, which is just weird and oddly homoerotic. But Trump isn't just Superman. He's a legend. We're fucking crazy, man. The pedophile president. Lies, injustice, and grifting. Super pedo. Oh my God, this is the best. This is way better. And he's got Epstein in the background. Yo, the internet is undefeated, y'all. I swear to God. He said, here you go. Fixed it for you. Oh, it's from Anonymous. Oh, that's hilarious. That is funny. 7.6 million followers. That's crazy. That's some crazy work, though. Like, the White House thought this was a good idea. Like, the country's falling apart. The world thinks we're a joke. And, ICE is out there just raiding farms and tackling innocent people because they're brown. And Donald Trump and the White House are posting shit like this on the internet. It's like we have a toddler for president. Like, for real. But let me show you the video. I have the video of Jesse Waters talking about it, because this is even the best. Like, they are so crazy at Fox News, right? And seriously, how dumb are their viewers? I'm starting to question. I knew MAGA wasn't very bright, but I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to think that they all have like brain damage or like legit lead poisoning or something. Like something is in the water making the something's making the MAGA dumber. Maybe it's lead in the water. Who knows? But anyway, here's the Fox News clip I was telling you about. Like, these people are so pathetic.
And I went to the Yankees at Mets game yesterday at Citi Field. Go Yanks. And you should see the people sitting for the national anthem for God Bless America. It's really just, I can't believe that we've come down to that. And I don't know, we don't go to the movie theater to be lectured to and to have somebody throw their ideology onto us. I wonder if it'll be successful.
You know what it says on his cape? MS-13.
Wow.
Is it superimposed or it actually says that?
It is super.
Just on the knuckles.
Superimposed.
One more thing is up next.
Yeah. Yep. Superman's cape says MS-13, according to Jesse Waters. And I know he's joking, but, there's MAGAs out there saying the same thing, probably reposting it on Twitter. This is truly hopeless, isn't it? But good news, though, is everybody hates ICE. Everybody hates ICE. They're starting to throw rocks at them. I mean, they're standing in front of their vehicles. They are making their lives hell, which is fantastic. We need people to be so disgusted with ICE that nobody will even consider working for them. Because I think you all should realize that if we find out you worked for ICE, we are going to treat you accordingly. We don't like you. Nobody does, except for the Trump administration. But here's just a perfect example of why nobody likes ICE. This is a raid recently at a California pot farm. Like, leave our weed alone, please. Yeah. Insane, right? They're throwing actual tear gas. Legitimately throwing tear gas at farmers. And oh my God, why does my microphone keep doing this? Yeah, it's pretty crazy that they're doing this shit. So, yeah, but that's just another reason why nobody likes ICE. Nobody likes Donald Trump. This is not going to go well. It's not going to end well for ICE or for, I mean, these people that are being taken off the streets and put into camps. We have to do something. And unfortunately, it's up to us. Our Democratic leaders have absolutely failed us or abandoned us. I've realized that most of them, I can pull up the AIPAC tracker. There's an actual website that tracks how many politicians have taken money from Israel and AIPAC. And that's most of them. So they're not going to do anything. As long as it has Israel's blessing, they're not going to do anything about it. So if you see them being very quiet about things that they should obviously be speaking out about, yeah, thank you, Brina. Centrist Democrats. Like, they're not, the Democrats I've realized are not the progressives. The Democrats that we have, except for like AOC, Bernie Sanders, Jasmine Crockett, people like that, but like Cory Booker, no. Have you guys seen the picture that he was trying to hide when Netanyahu's at the White House and all the Republicans are around him, like, you know, licking his butthole? Yeah, Cory Booker was there too. Because he's another one of these people, these AIPAC funded shills. Most of them are. It drives me nuts, man. But we don't have a progressive party in America. The Democrats are not it. You know, maybe Elon did have a point. Maybe we do need our own political party. Not his party, obviously, because that's just going to be some Nazi technocratic monarchy party. We need a true progressive party that believes in democratic socialism. Because democratic capitalism obviously sucks. I mean, I'm sorry, but if we're the richest country in the world, why don't we have basic needs met? Like, why are we still fighting for food as a fundamental human right in the freest, most powerful, richest country on the planet? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an illusion. America is an illusion. They tell you you can come here and make it big. Most of us are going to die broke and alone. That is the reality. And they're trying to take away more. That's what kills me. They're trying to take away more. They don't want to give us more. They could solve all of our problems. Why is my microphone keep going down? They can solve all of our problems. Homelessness, hunger, even drug addiction, getting people proper treatment for drug addiction. They could do that. But nope, they're not going to do that either. They're just going to sit on their ass and not to do a damn thing about it. So, yeah, but again, they are not happy with all the money and the power that they have, even though most of them could lose 99% of their net worth and still be billionaires. Think about that. If you lost 99% of all the money that you had, most of us would be homeless and in the freaking streets. You know what I'm saying? But no, we're the ones that are, have to pay the price so they can have more. which I just will never in my life understand. But it is that's what capitalism is. That's what capitalism is. It's funnel money upwards. Screw the little guy. We're all slaves to capitalism. You know what I'm saying? Like, this country's had it wrong the whole time. Like, it never should have been about race. It always should have been about class. Should have been a class warfare, because we far outnumber them. There's like a handful of billionaires in this country, and we allow them to dictate literally everything. Everything. It's truly unbelievable. But we've been fed this illusion that America is great and free, and it's so good here, blah blah blah. We know it's all just bullshit. I think the American dream was for people that are not from America. I truly think that people who come here from, I don't know, like poor parts of Mexico or something like that, and they come here for a better life, yeah, that is the American dream. But most of us that have lived here our whole lives realize that it's an illusion. Okay? But unfortunately, it's been ingrained in us for some reason that, if we can work hard and do the right thing and all this other shit, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, they like to say, that will somehow make it big in life. And everything will be great. Everything will just be great. But that's not the case. I've been trying to get rich for 47 years, and I'm still broke as fuck. So, again, it's just an illusion. So, all right, let's move into some more videos. Let's talk about ICE for a little bit. I wanted to talk about this 100-mile zone because people, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but it seems like most of the operations are focused on cities that are located within 100 miles of the border. And I'm not talking the southern border. I'm talking the entire, all the way around the country. Even when there is no border, like in California, where it's just water. So that's what they think. They have the right to, that's why they declared a state of emergency. So they can apparently do unlawful things in this nice, big 100-mile zone around the entire country. So it had nothing to do with the southern border. And you'll notice, I mean, most major populated blue cities are within 100 miles of the coast. You got Philly, New York, Washington, D.C., L.A., San Diego, San Francisco, Sacramento, Portland, Seattle. Anybody wonder why they're in Portland and Seattle? Starting to make sense now, right? So they have this 100-mile border zone around the entire country now that they are trying to enforce. And that's why they feel like they can get away with some of this stuff that they're doing. And notice that Florida, the entire state of Florida, is in that 100-mile border zone. So y'all are cooked. If I were you, I would move far away from Florida. Actually, I would move, I don't even know. I would move to Canada if you have the option. Mexico seems to be welcoming Americans that want to get the hell out of here. This is like a pretty appealing offer, right? At this point. But yeah, the government defines a 100-mile zone along its borders, both land and maritime, where Customs and Border Protection claims expanded authority. I don't know what that means, but expanded authority apparently means making arrests without warrants, racially profiling, and separating families, locking people in concentration camps. I guess that's their definition of expanded enforcement or expanded authority. I don't know. But Tom Homan's upset because people keep comparing them to the Gestapo and to the Nazis. And he's saying it's our fault for calling them Nazis. That's why there's so much tension against ICE right now, because of us, not because they're sending the military into our cities. It's because we're calling them Nazis. That's why people hate them. These people are so out of touch with reality. But here's Tom Homan being upset like a little bitch.
Arrested. Who were they, Tom?
Look, they're your typical protesters that go from protesters to criminals. The attack on ICE officers, you've covered it many times, is up nearly 700% now. We were talking 500% a couple weeks ago, so it continues. The rhetoric against the men and women of ICE is skyrocketing, especially by members of Congress. We have senators, we have Congress people that compare ICE to the Nazis, compare ICE to racists, And it just continues. So the public thinks, well, if a member of Congress can attack ICE, why can't we? So the rhetoric has to stop. Or it's a matter of time for someone to, one of the ICE officers goes down or a criminal goes down. But we already see an officer go down.
To be clear, so these were American citizens? These weren't illegals who opened fire?
No. As far as the investigation, I want to get ahead of the local investigation on this, but they appear to be agitators, people that are protesting ICE operations, damaging ICE property, want to attack ICE officers.
Notice how they won't say it was white kids. They want to demonize them so bad. I'm surprised Tom Homan didn't lie. Yeah, I don't want to. The ongoing investigation is just white people. That's why you don't hear a lot about it, because white on white crime, they don't want that. They want. If it had been a group of Mexicans attacking ICE, oh my God. Headline freaking story. We would never hear the end of it. But because it was just some white guys that are not racist and don't like people being locked in cages in their communities, yeah, they took it upon themselves. But that's why they don't want to report on it, because it doesn't fit their narrative of illegal criminals coming into this country to rape your women and kill your dogs or whatever the fuck they tell people. I don't know. Sorry, it's not funny, but just it's amazing how clueless these people are. Just completely out of touch with reality. Completely out of touch with reality. Let me close this real quick. All right, so next video, also Tom Homan, but now he is saying they don't even need probable cause. This is a problem, okay? This is racial profiling is what they're going to do. They're openly saying it now. They're just going to racially profile people, and they don't need probable cause to arrest somebody and detain them and lock them up for a little while, they say. What? That's kind of like the whole point of the Constitution and all that shit.
Tom, I've got to get your reaction to this Biden-appointed federal judge out in Los Angeles, apparently expected today to issue a temporary restraining order halting your lawful operations. She says, I think it's important for the court not to burden otherwise lawful law enforcement activities. Your reaction there?
Look, people need to understand, ICE officers and Border Patrol, they don't need probable cause to walk up to somebody, briefly detain them, and question them. They just need this totality of the circumstances, right? They just got through the observation, get articulable facts based on their location, their occupation, their physical appearance, their actions. Like a uniformed Border Patrol walks up to them.
Did he say tickleable offenses? But yeah, they're yeah. So if you're black or brown in this country, you need to y'all gonna have to fight. All of us are, even as white people, because most of us are not okay with this shit. Unfortunately, there are way too many people that are okay with it. But I am seeing a lot of people, first-time voters. Okay, this is a demographic that we do need to pay attention to. Okay, the 3-time Trump voters can honestly shove their heads up their asses. They can fuck right off for all I care. I have no time or patience for these people anymore. But a lot of people were conned by a con man into voting for him by making fantastical promises. And when you don't know anything about how the government works and you've never voted before, you're probably just going to listen to what you hear other people say or the highlight clips that you hear on the news. It's just the way it is, okay? There are people, though, coming out, and I commend them for saying, I made a mistake. I'm not for this. I was promised this. This is not what I voted for. They told us this, and this. But, that's not what we got. So there are people that, first-time voters especially, who are young, impressionable, easily manipulated. I mean, think about how you were 18 or 19 years old. Clueless. I was anyway. I don't know. Most people have their shit together mentally, especially at that age. So there is a demographic that I think we cannot alienate. And it's first-time voters that admit they make a mistake. But again, people that voted for Donald Trump 2 to 3 times, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Let them know how you feel. But don't waste your time trying to convert them over to our side, because that shit's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time and breath. I mean, I just don't even burn the energy. thinking about converting MAGAs. Like, I can't stand that when people are like, yeah, we need to bring them over to our. No, we don't want Nazis on our side. There's a very specific reason why no Nazis supported Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Okay, we don't want those type of people. We don't want those types of people. Okay, we want like-minded people that believe in equality, progression, evolving into a better form of ourselves. You know what I mean? Learning as you go. We're not perfect. All of us are ignorant to some extent, but at the same time, it doesn't mean you can't grow as a person. I'm definitely not the same person at 47 as I was at 17 or 27 or even 37. You know what I mean? You make mistakes in life and you try not to do it again. Like, it's all about personal growth. But you just can't remain this ignorant, dumb shit for the rest of your life. Like, you got to do some kind of learning, some kind of critical thinking. Maybe some people are just completely incapable of critical thinking these days. Who knows, right? Yeah, so Tom Homan and ICE they're not doing good, guys. So I know you see the highlight clips of them throwing tear gas and running people over, and it looks like it's truly insane out there, but they are losing. ICE is the most hated, I'm just guessing, but ICE is probably the most hated government agency that exists today. I mean, truly, we have entire communities coming out and confronting. I saw a video today of the fucking Crips in LA just standing there with their arms crossed, and these freaking morons at ICE are out there in their gear. Like, dudes didn't even have shirts on. So obviously they weren't armed, but you got ICE agents decked out in head to toe Temu armor, walking up to these people like they're going to do something. They're not going to do shit. Obviously, if they were going to do something, they would have did it by now. If they were going to shoot us, they would have done it already. I'm telling you, if they were going to shoot us, they would have done it already. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but the fact that it hasn't happened yet tells me that the Trump administration is all talk and the show of force. Okay, the show of force. They thought people were going to back down and run and hide in their houses, and then the Trump administration would just be able to do whatever they want, but they can't. They're finding out in real time that America is not going along with their fascist plan, which is a beautiful thing. I love to see my American people stand up for themselves. Finally. But you know what? We were pushed. We were pushed. I always say, I feel like I've been radicalized by the right, but against them. You know what I'm saying? Like 4 years ago, I did not give a shit about politics. I started really paying attention. I had voted a couple times before, but I really started paying attention after January 6th. And since then, I've turned into this guy who only talks about politics. Sometimes I wish I could just forget all this stuff I've learned, because honestly, politics is disgusting. It's disgusting, especially when you have a pedophile for president, allegedly. Fuck that. Dude's gross. Watch the Katie Johnson interview. I was going to play it all tonight. I was going to play the whole half-hour video tonight of Katie Johnson giving detailed testimony in an interview, but it's copyrighted. Donald Trump. You know what? Since we're moving on to Donald Trump, because we're going to talk about him the rest of the time, I want to show you this. Okay, this is real. This was from 2016, I believe. Katie Johnson sued Epstein and Trump. Okay, this is public record. But again, still MAGA, for some reason, doesn't know this exists, or they think it's like fake or whatever. But I'm going to read you some of the highlighted shit. On the third occasion involving defendant Trump, the plaintiff, Katie Johnson, was forced to engage in an unnatural lesbian act with her fellow minor and sex slave named Maria Doe in here, age 12. Katie Johnson was 13. This is an illegal filing against both Epstein and Trump. Okay? This isn't against just Epstein with Trump's name in the description down here. No, he's one of the listed motherfuckers on here. And for some reason, there are still MAGAs out there like, is he in the file? Is he not in the file? You know what? Again, I swear it's got to be brain damage. After the sex act, both minors were forced to orally copulate defendant Trump by placing their mouths simultaneously on his erect thing, all 3 inches of it, until he achieved sex. This is so gross. This is so gross. Plaintiff down here at the bottom, plaintiff Katie Johnson, in tears, asked Donald Trump what would happen if he had impregnated her. Defendant Trump grabbed his wallet, threw some money at her, and screamed that she should use the money to get a fucking abortion. How much more proof does MAGA need? How much more proof does MAGA need? This is it. This is real. This exists. A detailed description, and you can watch the video too. I wanted to just hang out with you guys and play it so you guys can really see how disgusting Donald Trump's work is. Out of the mouth of Katie Johnson. All right, that sounded wrong. But in her own words. But unfortunately, yeah, it's copyrighted, and I don't feel like getting my count strike just for that. But I wanted to show you this because it is an actual court filing, and this was in California. Also, there are I guess, what's her name? Pam Bondi is under a lot of scrutiny too, because she worked in the legal system in Florida at the time. She also helped Donald Trump get some pretty sweetheart deals, accepted money from Trump. Like it's just a giant nightmare. But you can read this on Twitter. You can find a lot about Epstein on Twitter right now. It's quite literally all you see right now. He is not going to escape this. As much as he wants. You know what? Let's watch the video again of Donald Trump reacting, shocked that people are still talking about Epstein, even though he's the one that said he would release the files on Fox News.
Sure. Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the
Yeah, sure. If
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things.
Of course we're still talking about it. You're the one that gave everybody those dumbass binders. This is Epstein Files Phase 1. Phase 1. There was no Phase 2. Phase 2 was saying, we don't have. But do not worry, because I'm pretty sure Israel has a copy. So once Donald Trump pisses them off, I'm sure we'll see it eventually. It's going to come out. It's going to come out. But this was the reason I wanted to talk about this again today, because I feel like all I'm talking about right now is Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. I think the last 3 episodes has been about this. But apparently, according to author Michael Wolff, the president considered and was talking about pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump's madam, the one who recruited and groomed little girls to have sex with people like him. He was one of them. According to court documents, Donald Trump has had sex with little girls. According to court, that's not me saying it. That's a court document. Okay, and they perjury is a real thing. So if you were to lie about something like that, it would be bad for you. You'd probably get fined and probably thrown in jail for a little bit. So it's time for everybody to say it out loud that Donald Trump, according to court filings, has had sex with girls as young as 12 and 13 years old. I think MAGA doesn't mind because it's not boys. I think if Donald Trump was caught diddling boys, that would bother them. But we've talked about this before on the show, but Republicans are perfectly fine lowering the age of consent. These people are disgusting. Okay, you guys want to call us the party Obviously, it's all projection and confession. But the president agonized over what Epstein's accomplice would reveal upon her arrest. And this was updated at 2:00 yesterday. So President Donald Trump weighed pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell for fear that she would spill secrets. What secrets? About his decade-long friendship with convicted child sex offender. Okay, let's say it again. Decade-long friendship with a child sex offender, and you guys think he had nothing to do with it. Right. After Maxwell, who's now 63, was arrested by the FBI in July of 2020 for allegedly helping Epstein run his sex trafficking ring, luring and grooming young girls into a web of abuse, Trump was very wary and began asking, what could she say? What would she say? And this is according to author Michael Wolff, who spent a whole lot of time with Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. So he would know. He would know. And to make matters worse, the more that comes out about this, the worse it gets for Trump, guys. And I'm telling you, this could be the end of him. Also, Wired came out with this today around noon, that the metadata on the raw Jeffrey Epstein, you know, that 11-hour footage that they released? Yeah, it was faked. It was altered. It was modified. Okay? They're hiding something. So this just makes the whole Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself conspiracy theory run absolutely wild. There's no evidence it was deceptively manipulated. Come on. No, it was accidentally. Okay, so the Department of Justice this week released nearly 11 hours of what it described as full raw, bad use of words, surveillance footage from a camera position near Epstein's prison cell the night he was found dead. The release was intended to address conspiracy theories about Epstein's apparent suicide in federal custody, but instead of putting those suspicions to rest, it may fuel them further. Metadata embedded in the video, and the fact that they don't even know what metadata is, or the fact that you could find out if a video was altered or not, amazes me. It just proves further that these people are complete morons and have no idea what they're doing. Embedded in the video was analyzed by Wired, and independent video forensic experts shows that rather than being a direct export from the prison surveillance system, the footage was modified, likely using professional editing tool Adobe Premiere Pro. Why would you need to run this through Adobe Premiere Pro? See, that's what I hate when they say stuff like, was it deceptively manipulated? Oh, no, they just happened to take a video and run it through a video editing software for fun, for funsies. It was just for fun. We just wanted to take an extra step. And what is that? These fucking people are crazy, bro. Okay, so anyway, the file appears to have been assembled from at least 2 source clips, saved multiple times, exported, and then uploaded to the DOJ's website, where it was presented. This is where the deception comes in, because it was presented as raw footage, but obviously it's not, because it's been fed through another video editing tool. Okay, so 1, it's not raw footage. That's a lie. 2, why would you run it through any video editing software unless you were trying to edit the video? Yeah. I don't know. Just keeps getting worse and worse for this guy, doesn't it? It gets better and better for us, because the more that comes out about this, the less people like Donald Trump, which is fantastic. It's fantastic. But even the podcast bros are starting to notice this. First, let me play a clip of Joe Rogan, and hopefully YouTube doesn't get upset about it, because they always copyright me when I play something from the Joe Rogan Experience. But here he is, and this is not good for Trump, because Joe Rogan is a large reason that Donald Trump got elected. Him and his podcast are a huge reason that Donald Trump got elected, because he had both Donald Trump and JD Vance on there. and Kamala Harris didn't want to do it. So, yeah. But anyway, he even is now jumping on board with the Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. And I guess this question is for MAGA. Who had the most to lose if Epstein would have turned state's evidence? Who was president? I mean, I'm just saying, it seems like if you're running for president or are the president of the United States, this is something you would probably want to keep quiet if you're seeking a second term. If this would have came out during his first term, like fully came out like it is now, there's zero chance he would have got reelected. He would never even have been on the ballot. Well, that's hard to say, but I can't imagine he would have had as much support from people had they known the reality of who Donald Trump is. But I mean, my thing is, again, I'm not saying Jeffrey Epstein was murdered or committed suicide. Honestly, I don't care. I'm just glad the guy's dead because he's a piece of human shit. But who had the most to lose? Again, a lot of powerful people would have went down. A lot, allegedly, of powerful people would have went down because of Epstein. And they still might. They still might, because Donald Trump thinks he's sweeping this under the rug. But unfortunately, the genie's out of the bottle, and I don't think he's ever going to be able to put it back at this point. But here's Joe Rogan talking about his theory on what happened to Epstein.
Made about how certain people become immune to prosecution and certain people become
Jeffrey Epstein.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. The Epstein thing is fucking nuts. It's nuts that they put that woman in jail for sex trafficking to no one. Who are the people? There's no list. You have no idea. There's no disclosure.
List, right?
But the fact that no one's asking for that, and the people that were involved in these crimes have never been brought to justice or even discussed, and it's just something that just gets swept under the table. There's no outcry. There's no people demanding an investigation to find out what the fuck happened. There's real clear evidence that he was murdered, and everyone's trying to say it was just suicide. No big deal. And the cameras didn't work. No big deal. Whatever. It's over. Let's not talk about it anymore. That's nuts. That's crazy. There's clear evidence that they did that in front of everybody's face. They killed that guy. He knew too much. And now...
To send him out. Who do you think killed him? As you step right into a life.
Who fucking knows?
He knows. He knows. Oh, what is this article? Bro, I find the most random shit on the internet. I found this article just to take a break from the Epstein thing. Financier Anthony Scaramucci, who worked for Trump in 2017 during his first stint in office, apparently said that Donald Trump was very agitated that he couldn't watch porn on White House Wi-Fi because the computers are blocked from porn. Donald Trump wanted to just wank off at the White House and watch porn on government computers. And he's running the presidency. This whole party's pathetic, man. If you support this, if you at this point, you just look sad. You look disgusting. You look truly sad. But again, it's not just Donald Trump that is going to go down if all this information gets out. More people like RFK Jr., who was also an associate of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Recently, I don't actually remember if this was recent or not, but it's still funny to watch. Here he accidentally admits that he goes to Epstein parties. And then he goes, fundraisers.
Many people knew him. My wife knew his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and they offered us a ride when we were going down to see my mother. I was with 2 children and my wife out on the plane at that time. I knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein. And then I think 1 or 2 years later, we took my kids fossil hunting on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. And those are, that was the extent of anything that I had to do with Jeffrey Epstein's airplane. Of course, I ran across Jeffrey Epstein at parties. at fundraisers for the Robin Hood. And I'm, but other than
What
that,
kind
I
of
had no
parties did you
relationship
go
with him.
to there, Mr. RFK Jr.? I wonder what parties you went to. I just like how he's like, yeah, I took my kids fossil hunting in South Dakota. And Jeffrey Epstein just happened to be going that way and offered me a ride. Like he was hitchhiking to go to South Dakota. And Jeffrey Epstein's like, hey, come on and play. And oh my God, I totally forgot about this, y'all. Donald Trump campaigned in the Lolita Express. You know, the one that Jeffrey Epstein would take little girls on and people back and forth to his island. Yeah, that plane. Donald Trump had it in his possession during the campaign. It was verified. That's not made up. That is 100% verified. He was actually, they painted it blue and put Trump's name on it, of course, but it's the same plane that Jeffrey Epstein used to traffic little girls. And Donald Trump had his kids on there. RFK Jr. had his kids on there with an actual PDF file. I mean, they may have been well, we all know Donald Trump participated. I have to say, I guess allegedly for legal reasons, but nobody really gives a shit anymore. But okay, so moving on from RFK Jr. Let's go back to the podcast bros for a second, because Andrew Schultz is another one. And he actually has he's right on the money with this. And I'm glad he's saying it, because again, they have a large audience of incel white guys that need to hear this stuff from other incel white guys. So this is very important.
You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time?
I love how they're all wearing the tinfoil hat.
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February.
So we're stupid.
Yeah.
we're the fucking idiots, guys. Just to let you know,
I mean,
we're
look
wasting
at
time.
us. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point.
That is, like, in all seriousness, that is, I think, what is enraging people right now is it's insulting our intelligence. Like, obviously, the intelligence community is trying to cover it up. Obviously, the Trump administration is trying to cover up. Something changed, because they ran on this idea of exposing it all. All these guys had great ideas. Cockeyed Cash, Dan Bongino.
He had clips, dog. He had bars.
He was ready to tear it all down.
Yep. So that's good that they're all bailing on Trump. That's good. And, I hope they continue to talk about this. And I hope to God this doesn't get swept under the rug. But you'll never guess. Actually, you probably will. You'll guess who they're blaming for the missing Epstein files. If you guessed Joe Biden, you are 100% correct. The new conspiracy they're again, this is why I think MAGA, you can't be this dumb. You can't. It's impossible to be this stupid. They're trying to say the reason the Epstein files don't exist anymore, even though Pam Bondi said they were on her desk. Now they're saying Joe Biden destroyed the Epstein files, even though Joe Biden had no connection to Jeffrey Epstein whatsoever. What is going on in this planet?
Clear what you're saying. Are you saying the previous administration destroyed everything, or are you saying that the Trump administration is basically doing the same thing as the previous administration?
No, I think they destroyed everything. So
why wouldn't Pam Bondi say that?
Because it's not true.
She doesn't have any proof of it. I'm just telling you what I think.
Yeah, because nobody does. Nobody has proof of that. That is one of the most ridiculous conspiracies. I mean, they've been blaming everything on Joe Biden for the last 6 months. They blamed the shit that happened in Texas on Joe Biden. But blaming Joe Biden for deleting or getting rid of the Epstein files is freaking wild to me. And if you believe this, please, for the love of God, again, just buy a helmet, just so you're safe. Like, safety first, okay? I don't want you to go out in public and just, like, I picture you just bouncing off of things with your head. So helmets might be in order. We can get a red one and put MAGA on it just so you can feel more comfortable if you want. Reminds me of a meme I made back 2 years ago. But anyway. But like, seriously, like, this is what they're trying to tell the public now. Joe Biden did it. Yep. Everything that's going wrong, Joe Biden did. Everything that's going right, Donald Trump did. So what? I don't know. Doesn't make sense. But Grandpa is delusional. Pappy Trump, who obviously has no idea what's going on, who is currently playing therapy golf because his doctor told him that's how he should deal with the trauma of almost being killed a year ago. Please, dude. Barely a freaking scratch. And we still haven't seen the medical reports from the hospital that treated him. To this day, the party of transparency seems to be hiding an awful lot. But here's Donald Trump being delusional, saying that a year ago, our country was dead. We were being laughed at by the entire world, and now we're the hottest country on earth. No, no, we're being laughed at by everybody.
I'll tell you a little simple language. 1 year ago, our country was a dead country.
Oh, yeah, DEI for floods.
We were the laughing stock all over the world. And now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're number one everywhere, anywhere in the world. And that's all they're talking about is our country. 1 year ago, it was a dead country. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world.
What does that even mean? The hottest country and everybody. Well, everybody is talking about us, but not for the reasons he thinks. Because everybody hates our guts now. Because he's managed to alienate everybody. All of our allies, even our enemies have united against us. Thanks, guys. Canada isn't laughing or taking the threat seriously. Yeah, you got to laugh a little bit just to prevent from losing your mind. But yeah, I agree. I may be Canadian here before too long. Or Mexican. Either way, I would get the hell out of here. But then Donald Trump goes on to throw out some ridiculous numbers saying that because of Joe Biden, he's not talking about Epstein, he's talking about Joe Biden. Okay, so Joe Biden, because of Joe Biden, there were 300,000 kids that went missing and that they've recovered 10,000 children. I mean, I watch the news quite a bit. I haven't seen a single story about parents being reunited with children. I've seen plenty of videos of parents being ripped away from their children. I've yet to see a single video. And if there's 10,000 kids that we found, I thought we would see some kind of evidence of this, but no, he's just throwing out numbers. And this is a talking point he's used before, but he used a different number. So let me show you this clip from, it was either today or yesterday.
You know, something that you should have that you haven't reported. As you know, 300,000 children are missing, right? 300,000 under Biden. We've already gotten back 10,000 of those children, and we have a lot more planned to come back. We're getting them back by the thousands, but 300,000, and we've, as of this morning, over 10,000 we've gotten back.
Really? Well, have you really? You're so good at this. But the funny part is he's used this talking point on the campaign trail. He said that same thing, missing kids, but this time he said there are 325,000. So he just picks random numbers and throws them out there, but then he doesn't remember the numbers that he uses. So here he is saying the same thing pretty much on the campaign trail, but using another fictitious number.
Harris lost. Listen to these numbers, though. Seriously, if this were a Republican, they'd be stringing them up. Now, listen to this number, because you have to understand what it means. 325,000 children have been lost. They've been allowed to be trafficked all across our borders. She flew in illegal aliens by the hundreds of thousands, and many of these were young children. But we have no idea where, think of the number, 325,000 children are missing.
Okay, Grandpa. Sure, whatever. Whatever you say, dude. But no, oh, here you go. Here's another ivermectin ad for you with Matt Gaetz' face on it. This is on True Social. That's what they sell over there. Yeah. So, yeah, they claim that because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, 20, and that number changes all the time, 21, 25, 300,000 million gazillion illegal immigrants came across the border, and they were smuggling kids too. I honestly, our country may be cooked just because of pure stupidity alone. I don't even know where to go with this sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so dumb that you can't believe that people believe this stuff, but then you go on social media and they're posting about it and talking about it, and people legitimately believe this stuff. And some people are going to die on this hill. They truly believe that Donald Trump had nothing to do with the Epstein files, that he's not in them, and that his staff are the ones covering it up for him. Yeah, that's what's happening. So Donald Trump's handpicked people are now the deep state, and they're out to get the mental gymnastics is Olympic level. And there's nothing really important to report on Donald Trump's Truth Social, because it's just all more bullshit. Oh, I did find out who that Nick Adams guy was before we get out of here. I didn't realize it's already been an hour. Where's that post from yesterday? Because this name sounded familiar and I couldn't remember why. But Donald Trump, actually, Jen Psaki did a really good video on this. I'll play this. It's like 2 minutes long, but this explains who Nick Adams is, who is now the head of the Inspector General's office. For those of you who don't know, the Inspector General's office is the office that whistleblowers go to when they have problems with government agencies and they want to report corruption and abuse and all that stuff. Now we have some Twitter troll. It's literally what he is. He's a professional Twitter troll. And I have his profile pulled up. Oh, look at this. What do you know? He's reposted something from PragerU, who has connections to Israeli intelligence. But he has posted some of the most homophobic, and he's one of these alpha male. This is him. Does that scream alpha? Or does that scream Leisure Suit Larry? Most of you probably won't understand that reference. It's a very old video game that I played when I was a kid. But that's the alpha male, Nick Adams, who is now the head of the Inspector General's office. He has to be confirmed by, and of course, he's a Donald Trump suck up. That's all it is, dude. It has nothing to do with qualifications. Donald Trump signed an executive order when he first came into office saying that it's going to be a merit-based system from now on. And he keeps handing jobs out to people that have no fucking clue what they're doing. See, that's what you can't say about Biden. Biden was old. Yes. Mentally, probably starting to fade towards the end there. Yes. But the people he had around him were qualified and had been doing the job. They've been in their field for years, if not decades. That's why the biggest difference between, you could even take Donald Trump and Joe Biden out of this equation and just look at the staffing between Donald Trump's administration and Joe Biden's. And I guarantee you, if you go qualification for qualification, it's not even a fair comparison. It'd be like comparing freaking top level Harvard students to fucking, I don't know, the kids in kindergarten. It's not even a comparison. Donald Trump has made us so unsafe. This is so corrupt. But we are like pre 9/11 vulnerable at this point. We got a 21-year-old or a 22-year-old running the anti-terrorism unit, who's never done anything like that before in his life. And then we have Nick Adams, who I don't believe works in the government at all. Oh, and he's a naturalized American citizen too. He's a naturalized American citizen. So again, it's freedom for me, but not for thee, depending on your skin color. Okay, so you can be a naturalized citizen or descendants of immigrants like Stephen Miller, as long as you're white, is what they're saying. Okay, other than that, you're screwed. But here, Jen Psaki does a great story. We'll end on this, but this is 2 minutes long. And she gives a quick rundown, and it's like 6 minutes long. If you guys want to watch it on YouTube, just type up Jen Psaki, Nick Adams, and this is what you get.
And now Trump is looking to take over another independent body that protects whistleblowers, the Office of Special Counsel, which is supposed to operate as a secure channel for federal employees to disclose potential wrongdoing without fear of retaliation. It's really no surprise, I guess, that Trump has nominated this guy to lead the office. Meet Paul Ingracia. He is 30 years old with barely a year of government experience under his belt.
Sorry, wrong guy. Wrong guy. Nick Adams is the what the hell is his name? He's the works for some embassy now. Malaysia or something like that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got totally confused. Paul Ingrassia is the guy's name. Paul Ingrassia. Not qualified, but he's now the head of the Inspector General.
And now Trump is looking to take over another independent body that protects whistleblowers, the Office of Special Counsel, which is supposed to operate as a secure channel for federal employees to disclose potential wrongdoing without fear of retaliation. It's really no surprise, I guess, that Trump has nominated this guy to lead the office. Meet Paul Ingrassia. He is 30 years old with barely a year of government experience under his belt. He currently works as the White House liaison for the Department of Homeland Security. And while that sounds important, it is not a senior job in any way, shape, or form. If he sounds a little unqualified to run the 110-person office that for nearly 50 years has been the agency for whistleblowers and alleged ethics violations, well, hold on to your hat, because it gets much worse. Back in 2023, Ingrassia worked with the legal team defending Manosphere influencer, accused rapist, and human trafficker Andrew Tate. He posted this picture of the two of them on Instagram with the glowing caption, "Andrew Tate is an extraordinary human being." If that doesn't give you enough sense of this guy's worldview, this guy's judgment, where he stands, here is a sampling of his activity on Elon Musk's X. Last year, on the anniversary of September 11th, Ingrassia shared a video of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones claiming that 9/11 was an inside job. He also said things like, quote, "Being anti-Trump is the biggest dog whistle in politics for anti-white racism." Okay. And last year for Pride Month, Ingrassia posted, "Certain behaviors are righteous and should be encouraged. Others are wrong and should be stigmatized and condemned." As for his writing, Ingrassia has written his fair share of fawning pieces about Trump. He's also argued that January 6 rioters were politically persecuted and that white supremacist and anti-Semite Nick Fuentes has been wrongly censored.
Yeah, that's who's staffing the White House and other agencies, guys. Sorry about the mix-up there, but yeah, I wanted to bring up Nick Adams because we talked about it a little yesterday. I just couldn't remember who the guy's name was, or I remember the name, but I just couldn't remember from where. So you got Nick Adams is the ambassador to like fucking Malaysia or some shit now, which he has no experience. All he is a suck up to Donald Trump, who posts nothing but glowing reviews about him no matter what happens. And then you got this Paul Ingrassia guy or whatever his name is, who thinks Andrew Tate is a good person. Andrew Tate is one of the most disgusting human beings on this planet, along with Donald Trump, which kind of tracks since Donald Trump literally helped Andrew Tate get out of house arrest because he was convicted of rape and sex trafficking of minors, no less. So it makes perfect sense that Donald Trump would help him. So Andrew Tate got a private jet from Romania to here, probably at the taxpayer expense, and is now currently posting on Twitter, living his best life in our country, of which, as far as I know, he's not a citizen, or he's a dual citizen of some country, but I don't think it's the United States. This is who Donald Trump protects. He protects rapists. He protects pedophiles. He is one. Stop sugarcoating it. Stop saying allegedly at this point. There's too much evidence. And the fact that if you were being called a pedo by the entire world and all you had to do was release the files, that's it. Why would you not do it? I would have did it immediately upon taking office. Be like, look, I told y'all, can you shut up now? Can we move on? But no, they dragged it for 6 months, put out a photo or a video that was run through a video editing software, and then said the files just happened to disappear. And then you got people like Andrew Tate, who Donald Trump personally helped. Personally, listen to me. Donald Trump is the reason Andrew Tate is in the United States. A rapist, a abuser of women. And that's not even allegedly. This motherfucker's been on audio and video talking about how he likes to abuse women. You guys are disgusting. Anybody that protects this kind of shit or even supports this You are the worst that humanity has to offer. Like, it truly makes my skin crawl just talking about these people. But there's people out there justifying this, somehow trying to rationalize their way through this. Just dump the guy already, okay, MAGA? Unless you're just going down with the sinking ship. It's time for y'all to get rid of those red hats and just like fade away into the back of society where you belong. And just shut the fuck up. Let us do let the adults do the talking from now on. But no, we still have to deal with this shit. But all right, I'm telling you guys, ICE is falling apart. They may have an oversized budget, but they have the entire population of the United States against them. They are calling them Nazis. They are calling them Gestapo. And unless you actually are one of those things, you're not going to be happy about working for an organization that is referred to as that. So they're going to lose people. There are people already quitting ICE. The morale is at all-time lows. And this Epstein shit is not going away, especially now that you got all the right-wing podcast bros. Again, Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, Shane Gillis, even Theo Vaughn. They are all saying that, you know what? He's in them. They're all starting to come to the realization that they were all hustled as well. And that's all it was. Like they got conned as well. They got conned. They thought with their wallets. They thought that Donald Trump was going to make them richer. That's why they supported him. That's why they voted for him, because rich people want to be richer. Poor people just don't want to be poor. But for some reason, rich people just want more. It's not enough that you have everything that we could ever imagine, but you want to take more off of our tables. Got it. So again, this is falling apart. This is falling apart 100%. It's not going to end well for Donald Trump. It's not going to end well for his administration. And ICE will forever be known as Donald Trump's personal Gestapo from here on out. It's done, especially when we could tell, like, if Tom Homan, if it bothers him, obviously it's working. So I said we keep doing it, if not do it more. So yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. May take a break tomorrow. Mike and I are planning a good episode on Sunday. We want to talk about what democratic socialism really means and why we think it's the way forward for our country to truly progress as a nation, like we truly need to where everybody has a better quality of life, not just rich people. And we're also going to compare the ICE budget to our education budget and see which one wins. I have a feeling that they're just going to keep taking money away from education so they can put it into stuff like ICE and other dumbass projects that Donald Trump is thinking of. So I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I know I was a little scatterbrained throughout the episode, but you know, it is what it is. I'm a one-man show when it comes to these dudes' recaps. So thank you guys so much for your support. Love you guys. I will probably, unless anything massive happens tomorrow, I'll probably just take the day off so we can focus on Sunday's show. So we'll be back on Sunday at 2 p.m. and I'm still trying to line up a guest for Tuesday. Not exactly sure yet. Still waiting to see if we hear back from her. And then me and James are planning something really dumb for Monday's episode of the Derp State. So far, we're going to talk more about how Biden destroyed the Epstein files. I'm sorry, but if you believe that, oh my God, help you. God help you if you think Joe Biden is responsible for that. Anyway, I love you guys. Have a good rest of your night. I'll talk to you guys on Sunday.